Well, I hope everybody had a great Halloween. It was kind of busy for me. I surprisingly had a good group of kids show up this year. Not as much as last year. I got a smaller bag this year and was pretty much out of candy by the time it was all said and done. But yeah, so we're here for pickups for October 2023. Uh, Kind of another slim month, but we have a lot of heavy hitters this time and some interesting pickups that I found. So we're going to kind of get right to it. Starting with probably one of the more interesting ones. This was actually discovered by Megamat, my personal buddy. He's been mentioned here several times. I've been mentioning on his channel. He usually always goes to our local used game store, and he sends me a picture. He's like, "Hey, have you seen this before?" And I said, "Yeah. In fact, I know what that is." But what was interesting about it was this is a Yakuza 4 or Like a Dragon 4 on the PS3. What's interesting though is because the PS3 is backwards compatible, this will play on the one that I have, even though I already own it, at least the Western release of it. But what caught my eye the most was the fact that it comes with this super thick manual. So this thing here, I mean, it's got pages and it's full color and everything. In the back, it actually explains like the different mini games and what the objection goals are. And the other thing, of course, too, because this is the original Japanese release, it's uncensored. Whereas in the West, there were certain mini games that were taken out of it, and some other little changes that were done to appeal more towards Western gamers. But I had to pull out my copy here, which again shows you kind of the different contrast here. So here is the Western release that we got here in the U.S. Here is the Japanese version. The English manual is actually quite smaller, and I think it's only in black and white. Yeah. So I mean, this has 21 pages total, and it's in black and white. So, of course, all in English and everything. Explains some of the parts versus what's this one got? 53 pages on this one, and full English too, or full Japanese. Um, so yeah, just some interesting things. The disc art is of course different as well. We have the uh, basically the same cover as the manual and everything, so you can kind of see that there. Whereas the Japanese one has the front cover of theirs in a sense with all the characters on it. So I just like seeing the difference. I don't know if I'll actually get around to playing the Japanese version, even though I kind of know what the story is. But to kind of see the differences and see if like with like Shenmue, like the Japanese version of Shenmue has the Coca-Cola brands on them, whereas we got Jet Cola here in the West. Aside from the demo, which was shown in early E3, where it still had the Coca-Cola brand, and if you have the PC demo disc from the issue 0 of the Dreamcast magazine, which unfortunately I don't know what happened to mine, the trailer actually shows all that in it. So some interesting stuff. Just out of mild curiosity about that. So back to normal stuff. I did end up picking up Sonic Superstars. This is the alternate cover. It has reversible art on it. As much as I really enjoyed seeing Fang or Knack the Weasel back in the series, the difficulty in this game is kind of crazy. The boss fights really drag down the overall play. The physics feel more on par with Sonic 4, which was to me one of the worst Sonic the Hedgehog games, and it was digital only. There are some fun parts. I like the multiplayer aspect of it, even though I haven't tried that out yet. I have finished the game. I've unlocked the hidden character and kind of gave up towards the end of it. Just because even with that character, the levels are even harder. The bosses take just as long. The difficulty spike was kind of insane when you get to some of those bosses. Um, it just, I don't know, it just didn't hit right with me. I appreciate them bringing back the classic characters, especially with the whole lore of the online community trying to figure out exactly where this game fits into the timeline now that they have a lore manager at Sega that's kind of handling all of the Sonic stuff, especially with like Frontiers that just came out recently, and how that's like the newest in the modern era Sonic. And they're kind of going back and filling in voids with some of the new cutscenes with the classic characters and their time between um, Sonic 3 and Knuckles all the way up to Sonic Adventure, I guess. Um, so yeah, it's just some interesting things. Would I recommend this one? That's tough to say. Honestly, if I was to rate this, I'd give it 2.5 out of 5 stars, which is pretty poor. Yeah, I was not impressed by it. Next interesting thing was Video Games Plus had announced that they had restocks of PlayAsia Vita games, of all things. So I jumped on that. I missed out on a couple. They were gone a little too soon for me, even though the PlayAsia Vita games were not ones that I was ever aiming for when I was collecting big time for the Vita. And I just got the games that I wanted to play the most, so I just kind of picked and choose, especially with my limited budget that I had for games at the time. So oftentimes they'd release 2 at a time, about every month, and I'd always pick one out of those 2 of that looked more interesting, or ones that I knew I'd get around to playing at some point. So I missed out on about half of the PlayAsia releases, and this is one I kind of regret that I didn't pick up, because I chose the other one, and I don't recall which one it was that released beside this one, and that is Kiwami Deathu Desu, and this is kind of a interesting 2D rhythm hack and slash type game. So this includes Prince Emmanuel, Ordered Certificate, original soundtrack, and the game. This, I believe, was limited to 2,000 copies, 2,500 copies. So I have number 1,419. And this is PlayAsia PS Vita game 44. So it's at least a small spot, I guess, in the PlayAsia collection filled in for me. Again, these weren't really ones I was aiming for. To a degree, I do kind of regret missing out on a lot of the English Asian versions that PlayAsia released, so I don't know. There's still some available on the site. I have a couple of them already that I picked up, or at least that I've had. I think there's only like 1 or 2 still on the site, but they weren't really great games. And I've kind of debated with myself if I really want to go back and get them. My focus has been on lately trying to find and hunt down a lot of the more exclusive Japanese ones, which oddly enough are like the visual novel stuff, which I'm not too into, but some of them are pretty pricey, and a lot of them have not yet seen a English translation here in the West. There's been a couple that have made it over here to the Switch, which I've been keeping an eye on a couple of those. I have a few of those, but generally if I have an English version, even though it's on the Switch, I'll get it. Aside from some of the visual novel stuff, because some of them are like sequels that have come out that originally their prequel or original ones were on the Vita. So it's kind of weird. I've got like a whole list of like the different games that I keep track of that were originally on the Vita, if they have an English translation, what systems they're on, and then what sequels they may have going forward if they come out or announce any. So yeah, I got like a whole method of all that stuff to kind of try to fill in some of that stuff. There's a couple. Also, the other ones for my list are Sega Saturn releases that got re-releases or remasters on the Vita. I'm trying to track those down again. Those are, for whatever reason, really expensive. Like the 60 to 80 to, I think one is even at 150 right now, to get even used. So yeah, it's kind of interesting when you take a look at some of those and how those price ranges jump between those. But then we have a limited run release that I've been waiting on for a while, and I love my shmups. This is Dodonpachi Resurrection. With the steelbook comes this nice little cardboard case that holds the game and the steelbook, so you get both, which is kind of nice. I did go all out for this one. I really wish it was out on the PlayStation. I, I keep cursing myself. I keep running into these stupid Switch games, and they keep filling my shelves, and I hardly ever touch the system. But I'm like, that's a shmup. It's physical. I need it. And of course, it came with a little card, which is just this one here, where she's missing her stomach. I'm not sure what's happening there. But yeah, just, and I guess this is one of the last few limited run cards. This is the silver stamped one, not the gold. So, um, and then another kind of interesting thing. Um, I think I've mentioned this in some other past videos. Udon every quarter or so sends out a special item as a thank you to the top 100 customers. So if you spend X amount of money, or there's only 100 orders within those 3 months, and if you reach that top 100, they send you something, whether it's a pin or some special item that's not available on their store. And I happen to get quarter one, so that's January through March, which I didn't really get a whole lot from them during those 3 months. So it's kind of surprising. I think I got some exclusive books from their store, and then I ordered a bunch of the Steins Gate manga because I'm going back and reading the original manga and comparing it to the PlayStation Vita uh, games, Steins Gate and Steins Gate Zero, just to see what the difference is, because I know the manga tends to have more in it than like the anime or the games. So just kind of for my own enjoyment. But I got the gold card of Jamie from Street Fighter 6. There was a silver version of Jamie released in a pack of 4 as part of their Street Fighter Round 2, Street Fighter 6 Round 2, that was only available at San Diego Comic Con and briefly on their web store. So I do plan on. I don't know if I'm gonna hold on to it or use it as trade bait. It's really shiny. My camera is like having fits with it. Because I'd like to get more of the Darkstalkers. I'm missing the 3 incentive cards. I'm waiting on a shipment to come in that has 2 cards, so I'll at least have 2 chances to get it. Um, but I had a shipment coming in already, and I ended up with JP from Street Fighter 6, which I will use as trade bait for the Darkstalker card as well. So I'm not sure. This is only the second gold card I've gotten. I got another Chun-Li gold card in the past from ordering or pre-ordering the swimsuit hardcover. So I think it was for that one. Might be a different one. But this is the only incentive that I've been sent that's gold. So I didn't make quarter 2, I don't believe. And they haven't announced yet if they're sending out quarter 3. But it comes with this nice little card here too. So as you're grateful for the Udon community, the Street Fighter 6 Jamie Gold card is given to you as one of the Udon store's top customers for quarter 1 2023. So that's kind of cool. I mean, at least there's something that goes with it. I thought that was neat. Alright, that's a bit better. I had to take some time to adjust that camera, so. Which is fine, because we're on the last game that I picked up for October, and that is Fate Samurai Remnant. And I enjoyed the Fate series. I got Fate Exelica and Fate Link, I think is what it was, which were just like Mosu hack and slash games. So this one looked like more of an action RPG, which I also enjoy, so I figured I'd pick it up too. This is by Koei Tecmo. I'm not sure what the print run is on these, but these Fate games tend to be limited. So once they do a first pressing, that's it. So I figured I'd jump at the chance of this and play it. It looks cool. I'm not sure what to expect. More anime weeb stuff, which I don't know. I've kind of gotten out of the anime stuff for a while, so. But yeah, so that's it for October. Yeah, I'm not sure what November is going to bring, especially with the holiday being around and everything. I've kind of cooled down on stuff. There's a couple game releases I've got my eye on. And then, of course, we have the release of the PlayStation 5 Slim coming. So that's on my radar as well. And maybe I'll pick up my first PS5 game. I'm not sure. I'm kind of waiting on a couple other PS5 games to come out in the future, but we'll see. So that's it. As always, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.